Hello friends, well here we are. It's day 24 of Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar. What a fun countdown to Christmas this has been, and we're wrapping it up with a really fabulous die set. It's a cute suitcase with some sweet details. It really has that vintage look to me. So we're going to stress for this card. I'll be creating a background on the Better Press system using the Design a Plaid press plate set. This set comes with vertical and horizontal stripes and also a registration template to line everything up. Help see the lines on the template. I've placed it on some white cardstock. The horizontal stripes will be placed between the teal lines. I'm working with fresh dye inks, and for both the vertical and horizontal lines, I'll be using Morning Frost for the wide ones, and then for the thin lines, I'll be using a soft green called Silver Sage. To apply the ink, I'll pounce the pad down on the plate, and then I'll finish up by sweeping the pad up and down so that I get a nice even tone right across it. It is easy to see how the ink is sitting on these plates. And if you don't get it nice and consistent, then when you do your pressing, your tone is not going to be even. Working with long press plates like these with a fair amount of area, I do find it easiest to first just get the ink on the plate and then take some time sweeping it up and down to get it nice and even. I'm applying this plaid design to Better Press paper. The color is Pebbles. This is a very soft gray. When the design is completed, it has this wonderful letterpressed look to it. The panel was die cut with one of the dies from Notch Corner Frames. This is going to be a vintage Christmas card, so it was a perfect opportunity to use some of the postage related stamps from Christmas flea market finds. I already have an idea of where the elements are going to be placed onto the card front, so that helps guide where I do my stamping. Some of the stamped images will be completely exposed, where others will be partially covered up for that layered look. I'm applying Distress Oxide ink Hickory Smoke. This is a soft bluish gray that works really well with the gray in the plaid background. To get a clear image, I am inking the stamps 2 to 3 times. I'll be using this same ink with a blending brush to distress the edges of the panel. After I've picked up the ink from the ink pad, I'll start off on my work surface with light pressure and then just move in circular motions, catching the edges of the panel. I'll be using Splatter White Opaque watercolor and a fan brush to apply splatter to the panel. This medium will require a little bit of water to be added to it. And after I've added splatter to the panel, then I'm going to bring in the 2 die cuts that will be the main body of the suitcase and add some splatter to those. I'll be incorporating a really cute sign from the Welcome Sign and Sentiments set. My sign is a combination of black and cream colored cardstock, and although I have a blue glittery snowflake, I ended up changing it out to white. I'm going to be stamping Home Sweet Home. I'm using Versamark black ink, which is one of my favorite inks for sentiments. It always gives a nice crisp result. The little hanging brackets have been die cut from gold foil cardstock, and I'll adhere those to the back of the sign. The sign hanger and chains have also been cut from gold foil cardstock, and I'll attach the chains first to the hanger and then the sign to the chains. And I did not give this quite enough drying time. And when I went to put it onto my panel, a couple of places along that fine chain came off and I had to re-adhere it. So really, patience is everything. Now for the suitcase. The body of the suitcase has been cut from dark brown cardstock and the small panel from Craft. I'm adding some walnut stain just around the edges to give it a more vintage feel. And there is an impression on the larger panel to help line this panel up too. Next, I'll adhere the gold foil handle to the top of the suitcase. The strapping for the suitcase has also been cut from the dark brown cardstock. Long straps are adhered first on either side of the handle. Next, the shorter straps will be layered on top, placing them at the top of the longer straps with the rounded end facing down. Before I put the finishing touches on the straps, I'm going to add in the identification tag, which has also been cut from the craft cardstock. Then near the bottom of the shorter strap, I'll add in gold foil buckles. This die set is so awesome. I just love it. And it also comes with some travel stamps, which I've cut from red, navy blue, and medium brown cardstock, which will be adhered randomly to give it that well-traveled look. Same die from notch corner frames that was used to cut the panel was also used to cut black sheet foam. They'll be stacked and weighted down for several minutes. And in the meantime, I'll prepare my sentiment from the Home for Christmas press plate and die set. I'm using Better Press black ink, and it'll be pressed onto the Pebbles cardstock, the same cardstock that was used for the plaid background. Coordinating die was used to cut both the sentiment and black sheet foam, and the sentiment was stacked. Foam back panel is dry, so now I can go ahead and adhere it to an A2 sized black card base. Foam squares are added to the back of the sign, and I've also cut down a strip of foam square to go onto the left-hand side of the hanger. And after the backing paper is removed, I put it in place, and then I need to reglue a couple of things, and I am using reverse tweezers to hold it until it dries. The foam back sentiment is temporarily placed so that I can position the suitcase so that it will fit slightly under the sign and under the sentiment. Sentiment was distressed around the edges with walnut stain and then adhered so that it overlaps the bottom of the suitcase. Going to use my favorite medium to create snowy texture on the sign. I'll be working with Nouveau Stone Drops Chalk White. When this medium is first applied, it looks shiny, but it doesn't stay that way. As it dries, it will go matte, and the sandy texture really becomes very pronounced. It looks a lot like snow. It is fabulous. And I'll use my craft pick just to pull it out a little bit to make it look more natural, and also to pick some up and add it on the fine lines of the hanger. And then I'll finish up with some Nouveau Crystal Drops Simply White. When applying embellishments, I like to work in threes. 3 drops will be used to highlight the sentiment, and then 2 additional groupings of drops will be used to form triangles within the scene. As I mentioned earlier, I changed out that glitter snowflake on the sign in favor of a white one. And that's a wrap for Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar for 2024. This was a fun project, and I hope that you enjoyed this series of videos. I wish you all a wonderful Christmas and a new year that is filled with peace, hope, and love. I appreciate the time you take to watch my videos and to leave lovely comments. As always, I appreciate your visit.